Okay, so we're just working on a review right now. We're talking about if you are a depositor for FICA FIT, the IRS is going to tell you every November what you are, and you're either going to be monthly or you're going to be semi-weekly. And if you're monthly, you are going to be paying by the 15th of the next month, making your deposit by the 15th of the next month. If you are semi-weekly, then it's kind of gets a little wonky. What's the rules there? We made that little chart, remember? Right? Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, do the next Wednesday. Pay Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, do the next Friday. Okay. So that's basically how everybody has to deposit, except for there's two exceptions. What's one of them, right?
What was the question?
But, so there's two exceptions. Everybody's one of these, monthly or semi-weekly.
Yeah.
But there's two exceptions. Josh, remember one? Anybody remember any?
If you make a lot of money or you more?
Yep, and not so much make, but have payroll up. To payroll tax liability. So if your payroll tax liabilities are more than 100 grand, you've got 24 hours. That's one exception. Or if they're less than $2,500 all quarter, then you just pay with your 941. So what we're working on right now, it was page 2 of the 941, which are, but let's see, what's the name of this company here? Sure Value. It looks like they are a monthly depositor, right? So when we looked at, I don't know why this all shut down on me. When we looked at our 941 on the second page, we had clicked off the box on the second page that said that they were monthly. So now the goal was to try and figure out, what was my number? Can somebody give me the number on line 12, please?
3,240.
3240.
Yeah.
0.26. Okay. So the first thing I want you to notice is here, it tells you your total liability for the quarter must equal line 12. So you better just plug that number in because you know what you're balancing to. You will probably have some adjustment to make in here to get this to tie out to the penny. And that's what I'm trying to show you. So here's where we left off. This is all filled in. Everybody feels comfortable how we got to line 12. Once you get to line 12, you finish it out. I think they owed like $100 and something. $111.96. Oh, just $11. Yeah, so somebody's just screwed up a deposit. This has got to equal line 12. How do I figure out what month 1, 2, and 3 are? The first thing I'm going to do is say, hey, how much is one payroll? How much would be a deposit for one payroll? So in my mind, what numbers am I going to pick up from this payroll register? What's one number I know I've got to pay? FICA. Okay, great. Plus what? Well, let's just do FICA together. FICA plus what? How about SIT? No, this is a federal payroll tax return. State taxes never go on this. So if I was depositing for one payroll, that's what I would owe, right? And how many payrolls, we look down here, I have to tell you how many payrolls a month in which two pay schemes. I have to tell you how many payrolls a month in biweekly and what? Nope, that's always two. Biweekly I have to tell you, and Let's go through the 4 pay types. I can either pay you weekly or bi-weekly or semi-monthly or monthly. Monthly is how many times a year? 12. Do I have to tell you? No. Once a month. Semi-monthly is how many times a year? 24. Do I have to tell you? No, it's 2 times a month. Bi-weekly is how many times a year? 26. Do I have to tell you? Sure. Weekly is how, because it's not, you can't divide by 12 and get an even number. Weekly is how many times a year? 52. Do I need to tell you? Yes. And I tell you here 2, 2, and 2. So if I take this number times 2, that's how much I should be depositing on a monthly basis. That's my liability on a monthly basis, right? No, FICA plus FIT. 177.02, 177.02 plus 186. So now let's go plug that number in, $1,080.08, right? And $1,080.08. $1,080.08, $80.08. And honestly, you're always probably going to need to make, some sort of a rounding. So 1,080. If I add that up, it comes to 3240.26 or 24, excuse me. And this is one of those horrible things where you've got to actually muck around with the pennies. Normally, I'm like, I care less about rounding, but this has to balance for the penny. So just take the last month and adjust it by 2 cents. Now it works. Yay. All right. Easy peasy.
So you don't have to know exactly what I can estimate a little bit.
I know that it's got to equal line 12. That's the big catcher right there.
But I mean that missing 2 cents.
It's just rounding. And then you've got to go down and sign here, part 5. Don't forget to do that. And if I do 940s for somebody else, you got to fill in all this garbage down here. Say that you were paid to do it for somebody.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
You rounded month 3 to 1080.06, but when you add the 1080.08 all up, it does equal 3240.24.
Oh, that should be 10. I'm sorry, that goes the other way. 10, yeah. So 1080.08 plus 1080.08. Thanks, Josh. Plus 1080. There we go. I rounded down 2 cents. You had to round up 2 cents. So just make it work. All right, let's get out our other 941. Any more questions on this? Let's take out the other 941. I'm going to put up another payroll register. And I'm just going to give you 10 minutes, but 8 minutes. I'll do some prompts as you work, and this will be very equivalent to what you're going to have on the test.
You have the 141
I don't. Do you have your book? Oh, thank you, Scott.
I guess I'm just going to erase like what's on this one because I didn't pencil. Is that cool? So just erase the one.
Sure. Yeah. You're not handing these in to me. These are just for your work.
Okay.
Okay, so I think I've got to tell you 454. This is a weekly payroll. And they had 4 paychecks in April and 5 paychecks in June. I'm sorry, 4 paychecks in April. Yeah, 5 paychecks in May and 4 paychecks in June. And here is essentially everything else you need to know about this. Okay. So if you're watching this, Schuyler, you should get out your 941, blank 941, and attempt to complete this, and I will give prompts every couple minutes. Okay. How much is the gross pay? Anybody got a number on that? Gross pay for line 28717. Good. So this is banner. That's for the second quarter. $832. So far, so good?
Number 3, what is it about?
I took the federal income tax of 162 times 13 paychecks. $2106. Plus those shares of FICA. Everybody get that part? And then I think I told you on the spreadsheet or on the payroll register how much they actually deposited. Right? So that can get filled in and then we'll flip it over. And see what we can do on the back. Anybody confused about where any of these numbers come from? Very good. If it's less than $1 either way, you just draw a line through the balance due or the refund coming. Right? Because nobody's,
You just draw a line.
as if to indicate nobody's going to be messing around with less than $1 worth the refund or the balance
Did you
due.
hear this many say?
That's what they tell me, but in this case, this will generate years of correspondence with the IRS, and you're not going to save a penny in accounting fees. So, I guess I'm on the other one here. 64.99.70. I deposited $6,500. I can't do it on mine, but in this one, under overpayments, you're just gonna draw a line in here. Right, because they owed six, oops, that's still not quite right, is it? They owed 64.99.70, and they deposited 6,500. So just draw a line through box 16 as if to say, don't worry about the 30 cents we overpaid you, it's yours. No, I think I overpaid
Right, so draw a line to 14.
through box 15, overpayment.
So finding out how many weeks is kind of the important part. Huh?
That's the way important part, because you can't do the back page
Yeah.
until you know. But again, if it's monthly or semi-monthly, I don't have to tell you how many paychecks, because you know 2 in a month or 1 in a month. Only weekly and bi-weekly are marked up, and in that case, I have to tell you how many times they were paid in a month. So do exactly what I did on the last one. Figure out how much you owe for one payroll, and then convert that to monthly and fill out for 2. And again, here's the number of payrolls, right? 4 in April, 5 in May, 4 in June.
It's got, I think you just look at that and say, for April,
Yeah, I have to tell you. I have to tell you.
Okay. I was like,
You
April
can't,
4th,
you
May
could if you've gone, if I gave you a pay scheme and you got out a calendar, but I mean, that's busy work. I'm just gonna tell you. And honestly, in all reality, your software's gonna spit all this out. I made you do it by hand so you understand what your software's spitting out. So tell me again what's on the 941, say it for me. After that, that's it. That's why I made you say that. Like that. Like a plus fit. Because you could write, Greg, both employee and employer share of FICA plus the fit I will let your paychecks. So get that back and make sure that it balances to line 12. You're probably gonna have to make an adjustment.
So if it's over or under, you distribute it evenly among the 3 months?
If it was monthly, you would just, and this said monthly payroll register, you just do FICA fit, and that number would go straight to it.
No, I mean like, so your total 5 days in a quarter versus the 3 months, if those don't add up to that, and then just double cents off, you had said tack it on your last month.
Yeah,
Is that something that you have to do on last month, or could you do it for, like?
I would just do it on the last month. 01 payroll. So I think for both April and June, this is the monthly liability. And for May, it's that amount. So if I add those all up, how close am I getting to my line 12? 4 cents over. So I'm going to subtract 4 cents probably from the last month. What was the number here? $24.99.90. Yeah. Oh, why does that not just go right on over it? What was this guy supposed to be? $19.99. 92. And then that would be 88. And that should tie to our, what, 64.99.70?
Yep.
Oh. And then don't forget to put the name and the ID up here again. Bammer. And da, 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 da. And go down and don't forget to sign it. Any questions? I'm doing my final check that my line 12 equals my line 12. Or I'm sorry, my part 2. Oh, and then you've got to check this. You are a monthly schedule depositor. If you're semi-weekly, you've got to do this whole Schedule B that's an attachment that shows exactly when you paid, because they're going to make sure you got it in every single payday, that you got it in the bank by the deposit date, or you get penalized. Penalized, so they're going to check you. All right. Do you feel fairly confident in your 941?
Right now, yes.
It's not going to be anything harder than this. I'm not going to give you anything complex. These things can get really super ugly when people are capping. Go ahead. It's just everything's in the PowerPoints. It's basically you need to just go back. It's all the things I want you to refresh yourself on. Let's see, what else did I want to tell you? So really the key thing is just what Rhett said. Your question is, how many times am I paid in the quarter and how many times am I paid in a month? I'm not going to give you a Schedule B because we haven't practiced one. And I'm probably not going to give you one so small that you don't have to do the monthly depositor. So you can be pretty guaranteed you're going to fill something out that looks pretty similar to what we've been practicing.
We need to bring that copy.
No, I've got it. It's a full-blown test, 100-point test. Don't panic. Yes, I will hand you a 941. Okay, let's turn our attention to the homework. And let me open the solutions right now. I always think I do stuff, and evidently I don't. So I will turn on the solutions, show. Can somebody read me what we all had to do? We did discussion questions.
4, 5, 8, or I'm sorry, that's review questions.
Okay.
Review questions 4, 5, 8, 9.
Okay, and discussion
1, 2, 4.
and practical problem.
1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
Thank you. Okie doke. I will start. Kim, do you have your book open and ready to rock and roll? Can you read for me the first discussion question and tell me what you thought?
Okay, so number 4 on the review.
Are we starting on the, oh yeah, no, we started on the review questions. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So the question summarizes the test
Yep.
So I said, if they have a trade or profession in which they independently offer services, the test is if they hire supervising pay assistants, set their own hours, are paid by the job, and work for as many employees as they wish.
That's exactly correct. And that all comes under, I've got the wrong file posted here. I've got to go into my box. What does it all come into those three big categories, what you just read?
How much control they have over their hours.
How much behavioral control they have, how much financial control, and perceived relationship. Thank you. Let's see if I can get in here. Why is this being such a pig? B-E-L-I-Z-E, more. Doesn't like the caps. Okay. So I can guarantee you're going to have to speak to the difference between independent contractor and employees, because obviously that's what we've been doing a whole ton of. Okay, where am I? Solutions. Chapter 3. Oh, no. I pulled this off of the instructor's resources page, and they must have misposted it. That's not cool. Okay, well, we're just going to free fall this, and then I will have to go find it and upload it. Okay, so the answer to number 4 is behavioral control, financial control, and perceived relationship, essentially. Brooke, can you read number 5 for me?
What are employer responsibilities for FICA taxes on tips reported by employees and wages paid to tips to employees?
This is interesting.
I had employers must collect FICA on employees on tips reported.
Okay, very good. So you're making a differentiation between what? What 2 kinds of tips?
Reported and actual.
No, reported, and what's the other word? Allocated. What is the difference between reported and allocated tips? Are they the same?
Allocated tips, isn't that basically tips that will come through the system, like if they write on the receipt, it's tipping this amount, whereas reported, would that be tips that, like cash they received and they reported?
Is that the difference between cash and card?
It's like that 8% or something, right? The time.
Let's just back up for a second in the spirit of review. What does the law tell us we have to do with our tips?
So you gotta report them all.
You got to report them all. The law says you got to report them all.
Yeah.
But then they go and they throw a little loop in it because they sort of lay down a bar or a litmus test as to the minimum amount you have to report. So only employers that are called what have to go through this, jump through this allocated tip sweep. Employers that are considered called large employers. You have to have 10 or more employees. If you're a little tiny coffee shop with 3 people, you don't have to do this. You have 10 or more employees. If all you guys work for me, every night you've got some server number or bartender number or whatever, cocktail waitress number, and at the end of the night, I tally up how much your sales were. And you have to report at least 8% of your sales, right? So if you told me in the last week that you had sold $6,000 worth of food and beverage, and you reported tips of $379, and your gross paycheck was 40 hours, and I'm paying, let's say I'm paying $835 and I'm in Montana. How much, run the paycheck for me, how much FICA do I, you don't know how to do that, but how much FICA do I need to take from the paycheck? this has 3 different concepts in one problem. I will put this, Shiler, for you on the flex screen. I need to find that chapter 3. I don't know what. Okay, great. Chapter 3, Solutions Manual. Huh.
Did you say specifically FICA?
I want you to actually do the paycheck. I want you to figure out what the gross paycheck is and then subtract the FICA and get a net paycheck. I want you to run it for me. You don't know how to do fit or sit yet.
Let me make sure.
Sure.
So 379 report to the order.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yep.
Reported, and then her gross is 4835, but the sold was just how much she sold.
Right. So she reported tips of 379. I'm running her paycheck for 1 week. She worked 40 hours. Here's what I pay her. But when I pulled her sales for the week, she sold $6,000 worth of food and beverages. And I want you to run her paycheck. I mean, calculate what's her gross, what's her FICA. And we don't know how to do fit and sit, so we can't do that yet.
So after you're being here, are you asking, because she sold 6,000, so they have to report the 8%, right?
That's what you have to know. There's a difference between reported and allocated, and there's a difference in what we do with FICA, unreported and allocated.
You want to know your taxes, how much you should have reported?
I want you to do this. Run the check.
Cool.
So there's a number of things in here that this is testing you on.
Yeah. So she taxed on her allocated plus her gross allocated?
Do you get taxed on, how do you get taxed on your allocated?
If she reports less, which one does she get taxed on?
That you should know.
Oh, I would say allocated.
She gets taxed on her paycheck on the reported tips. Remember I showed you that on the W-2, and then the difference shows up on her W-2 at year end.
Okay, yeah.
And she pays tax on that then.
Shows up
Yep.
somehow.
And this will be on the tax, right?
This will absolutely be on the test. So she underreported by how much? $101. So she should have reported 480. She did report 379, Therefore, her allocated tips are $101. Now you got to run her paycheck.
Or run it as if or fit
As if fit doesn't exist.
So I don't understand why you don't run, I mean, she doesn't pay taxes right now on the 379, she was do that later.
No. You've got to run her paycheck. Sure, she's got to pay taxes on her reported tips. You bet. Is that what you just asked?
Yeah, so I guess.
Yeah, of course she has to. Yep.
Okay, 'cause that confused me, and I'm like, that doesn't, okay. I'm really confused. But you're saying that 101 goes into the paycheck untaxed by her.
Remember I pulled up that W-2 last time? Where did that $101 show up?
But at this point, it's not taxed.
It's like, it's just this number floating out there that gets thrown on the W-2 at year end.
Because she's responsible for the whole college run.
No, you never see, remember I said that too, that matching never happens on allocated tips. So you're also screwing yourself, you're gonna owe a chunk of money, and you don't get the match. The employer never pays a match on it.
So then you're responsible.
Nope. There's never a match on allocated. It just shows up on your W-2.
Oh, that's
You
why
pay
I'm
your share.
Curious is what you're saying. Okay.
Pardon me.
You're saying you're messing up yourself because you're not paying that much.
Exactly.
So right now, all we're trying to figure out is your 40-hour week plus the 379 that you're reporting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But don't put the 379 back in the gross, because she's got that in her contract.
Okay.
Okay, let's, don't need to save that. But I do want to set up this hover cam. Okay, so that I can capture this. The problem was she reported tips of $379. She had sales of $6,000, and I'm cutting her a gross paycheck for her 40 hours at $835. And the question is, how much FICA do I take out of her paycheck? So her paycheck itself, her gross paycheck, is 40 times 835, which is $334. She should have reported $6,000 times 8%, but she only reported $379. The very bare minimum, if you're a large employer, that you can report is 8%. So but what the law says is you got to report what you actually got. So she underreported. So at the end of the year, she's going to have allocated tips on her W-2 of $101. And that amount will become taxable to her at that point in time with her year-end tax return. She will need to pay FIT on it. She will need to pay FICA on it, but there's never a match on it. You lose that match. Go ahead.
So when you say by law you're supposed to report when you actually.
Of course, yep.
So if you really actually made it for 79.
Then you can, if you're chronically making less than 8%, there's an appeal. I can't remember the name of the form. I don't know if we looked at the exact number of the form, but you can appeal it.
But, so say this is just a weird week or something. Could she have reported the 40?
Sure.
And then get more
What
taxes
she do
or
her sales.
Yeah.
So you might say we're-
Yeah. So How much is her FICA on her check of $334? What times what? Well, doesn't she have to pay FICA on her reported tips? Her reported tip she has to pay FICA on, certainly. So 334 plus 379 times 0.0765. And we don't know how to do fit or sit yet, so we're calling that 0, but obviously she would be paying on that too.
So for the net, would you add in balances and nothing? That's not her paycheck, right?
This is her net paycheck. Those allocated tips don't show up till her W-2s run. This is her paycheck in February.
But she gets paid those at that point, right? You're saying they show up on the W-2 for tax purposes, does she actually get $91?
No. She's just underreported her tips by law.
And they don't have to make up for that?
No. What the law is saying really, Amanda, is in a country where the average tips are between 18 and 22%, if you're reporting less than 8%, the IRS hates cash income because there's no way to track it. The rest of us, we have W-2s, we get 1099s, we get K-1s. They can track our income and match it, make sure we're paying our fair share of taxes. If you're chronically reporting less than 8%, you've got untaxed income, and that's not fair to all the rest of us that have to pay taxes on our income. So that's the issue.
She probably got over $1,000.
Oh my God, she probably made a shit ton more than that.
So why don't you add the 379 to the gross?
I did.
Oh, for
In your net.
their calculation.
Well, I'm not paying her the $379. She's got that in her pocket. I just got to take taxes on it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, collective understanding. I'm not paying her the $379. I'm just taxing her on it. She told me she got this in her pocket. I'm not paying her for that. I'm only paying her this. Remember, you guys, we did all those examples where you were only making minimum tipped wage.
I know, but our brains
That's kind of what.
are
$2.13 is minimum tipped wage. Remember, we did those examples like I work the roulette wheel at the Bellagio and make $3,000 a week in tips, and they're trying to get it out of my little gross paycheck of $2.13 an hour. So I get no paycheck and I still owe a ton. Do you want to do one more of these? Okay, let's keep up to the homework. I found the solutions. Yay. All right, what was that? Was that 5, 8? All right, what's number 8? Can you read that for me, Jen?
John Lewis receives wages from 3 employers during 2019. He is entitled to a refund when the OASDI taxes paid on wages in excess of the taxable wage bill. Is he entitled to the taxable week days? If so, how can he receive a refund? So he is entitled to a refund because he works for 3 employers,
Yep.
and the overpayment amount is credited against the employee's federal income taxes of the year.
That's exactly what happens.
John can receive a refund by filling out the Form 1040.
Yeah, so basically what they're saying here is like if I get a W-2 for $760 and another W-2 for $80, have both of my employers taken out maximum OASDI? Yeah, sure, they don't because it's not cumulative. But at the end of the year, I've paid OASDI over the cap. And we're using 128.7 for our cap. And they would take, how much of a refund am I going to get? It's like, did I not just say my head was exploding? How much of a refund am I going to get on my tax return? How much am I going to get credited on my tax return if this is my situation? No, it's not kind of like, I want the exact number.
math, hold on.
It's math.
Yeah, you got a math.
I don't think it's going to be a round number.
10, 6 to 10. And then I
What is that, 11.3 times what?
what 062?
0.0765.
Just OASDI.
Okay, 0.06. That
Ding, ding, ding. You get the gold star. Okay. Number 9. Josh, can you read that for me?
Yeah. What are the self-employment tax rates for 2018? Explain how the tax is computed. So when you're self-employed, you have to pay, well, the employer and employee.
Yep.
The total is 15.3%.
Yep.
And then you just take your wages and multiply it by the 15.3% to get your tax. Right?
You can do that if you made less than what? You can go straight to the 15.3 if you made less than
A lot.
128.7. Once you get to 128.7, you're not paying that 12.4 anymore, are you? You're only paying 2.9%. HI plus HI.
No.
Your facial expressions are just, I've almost got to not look. Because I'm just giggling. I'm not giggling at you.
There was a question later, I don't know if we're going to get this because we're running low on time, but it was something about they got taxes in June. What was their pay rate in July?
All right, let's get there. Okay, now the other thing is if, can I just use the 15.3 or the 2.9? Is it that easy? No. Because if they make more than 200 grand, the 2.9 turns to 3.8 because you got to add that 0.9 tack on.
Wait, is it only 1.9 tax?
It's a 0.9 tack on 2.9.
Okay.
So 1.45 plus 1.45, employee plus employer, 2.9. Once you get to 200 grand if you're single, or 250 if you're married filing joint, then you tack on the 0.9. No, I won't count it against you. There's a lot to think about. I get that. So I'm not here like, I really want to see you guys all fail. I really want to see you all be able to do like a basic payroll. Yay, rah, rah, rah. So I'm going to give you situations that encourage you to show what you do know, not try and get into the corners of where all the exceptions are, or the tough stuff.
I think one is three.
Huh? No, I mean, I'm a pretty fair tester. Everybody says I'm hard, but I'm fair.
Very fair.
Okay, what number was that?
9.
Okay, number 10, what do you file with the IRS if you need an EIN? SS4. What does EIN stand for? Employer Identification Number. Okay, and that just sticks with you forever. Number 11, we've done this. What are your 12? Okay. Electronic reporting. What's the name of the system again? How do I electronically deposit using the what system? EF, go ahead, Ben. TPS, and that stands for Federal Tax Payment System, Electronic Federal Tax Payment System. Of course it is.
Is every single thing going?
It's a full 80-minute test. You will be here 80 minutes.
So what happens if
You better budget your time to finish. That you definitely have to do. My test always takes the full class periods, and you need to budget your time accordingly. Which means, oh my God, there's a 35.941. I better knock that off first. and leave the 1.5 point multiple choice. See what I'm saying? That's part of what you just have to do, and that's part of like what we all do in our jobs, and, right? Nobody's interested in you spending the whole afternoon reconciling the bank account to find 26 steps, right? And that's the kinds of time management skills we all have to use. Yeah.
So the 941's 31, 9 points?
I'm just making that up. No, it's a chunk. I mean, it's probably a quarter of the test.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I would always look at. When I took the CPA, the very first thing you did is you went and did an allocation where all the points were, and you set yourself up a little time schedule. And when you had got done allocating your 38 minutes to problem 1, you moved on to problem 2. Huh? Well, it was 26 hours of testing in 3.5 days. So, yeah, that was a little brain frizzling. Number 12, okay. Okay, now this one is, Amanda, why don't you read this, because I think it was a question you were just asking.
During your employees on that, wages in the amount of $250,000, discuss how the employee's HI tax will differ from the employer's HI tax for this employee. I mentioned that when he earns $250,000 a year, his employer will pay the 1.45 without the cap, but the 50,000 that he goes over the 200,000.
Very good.
He will pay 1.5 plus.
Very good. So his employer is going to pay 1.45 on the entire 250 grand. He's going to pay 1.45 on the first 200,000 and 2.35, right? 1.45 plus 0.9 on the last 50,000. Number 2, this is the guy that's not making the payroll tax deposits on time. And they're asking if that's a very good idea. That is a ridiculously stupid idea. And if they can prove that you are criminally intent, if there's gross negligence, you can actually be held criminally liable, and it doesn't even have to be your company. It can be if you're an employee of a company and willfully diverting money, and we don't have a regular board washer anymore, so my notes from the other day are still up here. Fiduciary responsibility. What does that mean?
You have the responsibility to withhold the money.
I've got your money in my bank account, so if I don't remit that to the proper taxing authority, that's way worse than me just like not paying my own income taxes. And then number 4, this is a jury duty, blah, blah, blah. This isn't super critical. But yeah, I mean, there's different things that are susceptible to different taxes. Definitely does have to pay FICA on the $300, which is weekly salary less the jury duty money. Okay, let's take a peek at the problems.
Yeah, she has to pay money on jury duty.
She doesn't have to pay FICA on jury duty money. Okay, so basically some of these were, can you run your calculator? So number 1, they wanted us to figure out the FICA, nobody caps. So pretty easy. Taxable wages. So here's what's withheld from their paychecks, plus their employer has to match. Number 2. This is, I'm going to have to do some other math up here, I think, because they used 128.4, didn't they? So, in the example on 3A, how much was the paycheck every time? The check was $8,000 every time they paid? Did it? Okay. Okay. And if okay, so 3A is correct. 496 for OASDI, 116 for HI, right? But 3B, if I've made 8,000 times 16 paychecks, if I've made $128,000 before today, only 700 of it's going to be taxable for OASDI, right? So I think I'm going to be pulling $43.40 of OESDI. Is that the 17th paycheck? Yep. And the HI is going to look just like the same that I just pulled, 116. God bless. And then on the last paycheck, was that C, the 24th paycheck of the year?
Yeah.
So once you get past the one where they cap, all the OASDI is zero from then on in, isn't it?
Yeah.
Piece of cake. And always 116. Except for what happens at the end of the year there. She goes over. Are they asking me to calculate on just the one paycheck how much? Yeah. So how much HI, how much do I have to tack on to that 116? The 0.9, right? 8,000, I can see that's $72. Right? That's 0.009 times that last $8,000.
Oh, but the last
Yeah, the last one didn't
The last one was, which one are you doing? 24th?
Oh, they did, yeah.
You get the bonus of 100 grand.
Oh, I see. So 8,000, and she's paid how many times a year? 24? Oh, she doesn't get to the 200,000 on her regular paychecks. Sorry, it's the bonus that puts her over. And how much is her bonus? 100,000. Okay, so here's what we have to do then. So if her bonus is 100,000, year to date prior to her bonus, she's made 192, right? So then she makes another $100,000 in her bonus. So all year she's made this. How much does she pay the extra 0.9 on? Just 92,000. That's this number right here. This is what we just worked on with the tips. How much FICA do I withhold from the check? Well, you withhold on the wages, but you've also got to withhold FICA on the tips, don't you? Anybody catch that? You did that right. Yay. Happy dance. So on 3-3A, were the tips 5 1/4? Or were the wages 5 1/4? We're 5 1/4? So I'm cutting a paycheck for $525 minus $56.73 minus $13.27. I'm not paying her the $390 again, am I? She made that in tips.
So that's the one I was wondering about, though, because she gets the tips in June, but the paycheck is in July. So
Right, so she's reporting her tips after she makes them. So the only choice I have as an employer is to take taxes on what she's reporting from the prior period.
So it doesn't really matter if it goes over the month.
It doesn't. Number 4, is this the same kind of problem? Tips plus wages? Sorry? I can't imagine how you could be confused in here. It's all very straightforward. Okay, this is posted on Moodle as well. Okay, number 6, just do a quick check of the numbers. The only thing that's tricky here is partners are not employees of their partnership. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Partners, every other, and I said this, but again, there's a lot to ingest. If I'm an employee of my S Corp, I get treated just like any other employee, taxes. But like I'm a sole proprietor, or if Warren and I were in a partnership, we went through this whole thing and we left our money in the partnership because we wanted to buy a building next year. We're going to get taxed on our net earnings as self-employment, not the money we draw out as wages. It's just a completely different system for partnerships.
So you don't pay taxes on normal payroll?
No, you don't get payroll as a partner. You have earnings and you may or may not take cash from your partnership,
Yeah.
is how that works.
Kind of like taking it out of owner's equity.
Yes, it's exactly like taking it out of owner's
But
equity.
they don't have to.
They don't have to.
Cool.
And then I think the last thing, which I'll have you go through and check, is the 941 for Carlos Cruz Company. And this is a different way of making the adjustment. They're doing that rounding on the front page. I showed you how to do it on the back page. I prefer that. So if you didn't round on the front page, you're going to carry the 21.7, 71, 77 all the way down. And then you make that 6-cent adjustment on the second page. So basically, here's what you should do. You should go through the review. You should work all the math again. I've got probably 15 slides posted of math, from gross wages to SECA to FICA to capping. Obviously, you need to know how to do all that. I can guarantee you're going to have piece rate. I can guarantee you're going to have somebody with less than a 40-hour work week for full time. Remember that? I get paid a salary, but I'm not exempt, but I only work 38 hours a week. What else can I guarantee you? Piece rate, commission, salaried non-exempt, somebody who's got a W-2 and self-employment income. So really, all this stuff we did, you guys, there's not going to be any surprises. The multiple choices from the slides. I will not be going into your book and picking out some weird bullet we never talked about.
So all those are from the site.
Everything's really from the slides. One more time. You're going to have to calculate it, a check. I'm sorry, what do you ask him? It is. It's on the slides from chapter 2. I think we did a couple examples on the slides.
When you say commission, is that like the one the problems that were like, oh, you make X amount for this we produce?
That's piece rate. Commission is like I pay you 40 grand a year and cut your check bi-weekly, but then I give you a percentage of your sales as well. I think I'll let you keep it to study from. I'm going to find the slides for you so you can see them, Amanda.
Okay. Well, I know that we're on the slide, I feel like we skipped over. No, we did.
I think we did these last two. I think we did these.
Yeah.
So just go back and check it out.
Here's some of